Oh, so now you speak bird, too.
Fluent.
I hate you.
No, you don't.
Heated Rivalry is an adaptation of a book by Rachel Reed of the same name. The show is directed by Jacob Tierney, and I really didn't know what to expect when starting it. I'll just get this out of the way quickly, but I've never been one to care about erotic scenes or anything like that. I don't think they're the worst things in the world like some people do, but I don't think they are completely necessary most of the times either. Overall, in this show, they did serve a purpose throughout, and I'll get a little more into that later. The first thing I want to talk about is the pacing of the show. It takes place over the course of, I believe, a decade, and it only has 6 episodes, which means that it has a lot to cover, and it has the potential to not be able to give the audience the time that they need to develop their own relationship with the characters themselves. But the great thing about Heated Rivalry is that it only focuses on Shane and Ilya for the most part. Every minute of the show that we get is spent focusing on either Shane or Ilya's perspective, which means we don't have to think about anybody else or their problems, but rather we are focusing on the 2 main characters and how their environment and people around them affect them. In regards to the amount of time that passes throughout the show, they are mostly handled through montages with important developments getting the time that they need, but the montages are well done and they make sense considering these 2 have very limited time spent with each other throughout the years that they are seeing each other. And they mostly spend their time texting each other or sleeping with one another if they're in the same city for the games that they have. But it also helps to make the moments they do get together have that much more impact, especially considering when they do have emotional scenes together, the scenes are long, the cuts are infrequent, and it allows the audience to breathe along with the characters. I do want to talk about 2 scenes in particular because they really changed my perception of the show, and that would be All the Things She Said in episode 4 and the love confession over the phone in episode 5. But before I continue, I would just like to say that if you like these kinds of videos, then please subscribe. I like to take a look at different TV shows or movies on the channel, so if that's something that you're interested in, join along. When it comes to All the Things She Said, this completely altered my brain chemistry in regards to the show. I think I was unfairly judging it for a reason I can't really comprehend. But I wasn't willing to call it good until this scene happened. Don't get me wrong, looking back on it, I firmly believe that the show was good from the start, but I was a bit closed off to admitting that. Again, I don't really know why. But when this scene started, I paused the streaming service and I kind of stood up for a second because whenever I hear this song, it is like nostalgia and I don't even know what happens when the song comes on, but it just gets to me. And what occurred on screen was honestly mesmerizing to me. Granted, the directing and the editing and the music choices and the acting and really everything about it was amazing and phenomenal. Not to mention the switch up of the song into a slower and entrancing version as these 2 are with other people but solely focused on each other the entire time. It was just so captivating. Even if you take a look at the lyrics that are playing for each character in the faster paced tempo, it kind of focuses a little bit more on Ilya's perspective, whereas the slower tempo focuses a little bit more on Shane's perspective. And if you take a look at the lyrics through that, it kind of gives an idea to where both of their heads are at. I can't take credit for this thought process. I did see this on a subreddit, but I thought it was a really interesting take because, it's pretty true. The lyrics are pretty fitting for each of the characters when it's focusing on them. The next scene I want to talk about is the love confession from Ilya over the phone. What I love about this scene is how it gets the time it deserves. It's not like there are excessive cuts back and forth between Ilya and Shane, or just taken completely out of the moment to talk about another character and their problems, but it's rather simple overall. Ilya is really struggling with his family and life back in Russia, and Shane is there to talk to him and hear out his problems. Ilya doesn't have the energy to explain in English, so Shane suggests he lets it all out in Russian. And so he does. One of the things he is struggling with is his feelings for Shane, because out of everything that is going on in his life, the only thing that he wants is to be with Shane in that moment because he loves him so much that he doesn't know what to do about it. The whole scene is so engaging because at this point we are so invested in the relationship, and the acting was just so well done because there's really nothing more to the scene besides Ilya talking and Shane listening, but it's easily the emotional height of the show in my opinion. And that's really a testament to the acting, directing, and story overall. I made a short recently and I gave the show a score, but I would like to amend it. I scored it around a 7.5 to an 8, but I think my genuine rating of the show would be closer to a 9. Now, to be fair to me, when I did that short, I actually had embedded subtitles that I forgot to burn into the video before I uploaded. So my original score actually ended up being an 8.5, but it never got shown because I forgot to burn in the subtitles and I couldn't believe it when I saw it. And I couldn't believe it when I saw some people start commenting, like, why'd you give it a 7.5? It was originally 8.5 and I kind of want to amend it to a 9 after going through everything again and really just, simmering on the show a little bit longer. But originally, I think the 7.5 came from how harshly I was judging the show in the beginning. But having gone back and seeing some of the earlier episodes of the show, I think a 9 is warranted because it really was solid throughout. Actually, I just remembered why I was a little more judgmental of the show in the beginning, and it was because of the erotic scenes. And when I first started the show, I had just kind of written it off a little bit because of that. Now, to be completely honest, I still don't care for excessive erotic scenes or anything, but there was merit to them at the end of the day. One, to show that there's nothing wrong about the expression of want and desires between two men, and the other was to show the progression of the relationship between Shane and Ilya. I don't think I'll be able to show any of the scenes at all, so I don't know what I'm putting on screen right now. That's just how it's gonna be. For example, they call each other by their last names exclusively for a while, but there's a point when they are doing the deed that Ilya calls Shane by his first name, and that makes it all too real for Shane, and he pulls back from their relationship a little bit after that. So things like that really drive home the point that there was a reason for all of these scenes and things like that. Either way, I think that was the reason I was judging the show so harshly in the beginning, which wasn't fair of me at all. Once again, I don't have a problem with sex scenes or erotic scenes in general. It's just when they get a little bit too excessive, it's kind of whatever to me. But I really do believe that they served a point here. Moving on, there is going to be a second season of the show, which is pretty exciting in my opinion. Now, I am a firm believer that shows don't always need a second season, and sometimes shows and movies need to know when to end it. But in the case of Heated Rivalry, it is based off a book series, and 2 of the books are focused on Shane and Ilya specifically. So I can at least feel less worried about where the story is going to go because there is still source material to go off of. Plus, it will be interesting to see them navigate their relationship together after they decide to put the boyfriend label on, and what that entails for them moving forward. I truly didn't expect to enjoy the show as much as I did, but I'm glad I gave it a chance, and I look forward to seeing what's in store for these 2.